Hello and welcome to the Movie Podcast. My name is Shahbaz and I'm joined by my other Oscar hosts. You know what? They should have got us to host the Oscars. They had three hosts this year.
They had three hosts. We could have done it. We could have jumped in there, no problem.
And also, we're men. Men never host the Oscars.
That's also what I was saying. You know, like when was the last time two white men were up there hosting something? When have we gotten our due?
I think white men are in for, an awakening. I think at some point there's going to be the rise of the white man. You guys aren't talked about enough, I think, personally.
No,
and me as a brownie. I don't know why I call myself a brownie, like a dessert.
The brownie. We're the white chocolate brownie. God, I don't like this.
Me as a baked good. I think hopefully my time will come.
Listen, Shay, I think men in general, it is our time to shine next year. It's the 95th Oscars. It's going to be all about the men.
Of course.
Yo, I don't stand for any of this, what you're saying.
Before we get slapped by Will Smith, I just want to confirm this is a joke. This is a joke. If this is your first time listening to us, welcome to the show. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, my name is Shahbaz. I'm joined by my other co-host, Daniel.
Hello there.
And Anthony.
Hello.
Shay, you have such like a chill guy voice going on right now. You're just welcome to like the evening edition of the Movie Podcast. My name is Shahbaz.
You know what, man? I'm just trying to take it easy today because we have so much to talk about.
We do have so much to talk about, and we have so much just to deal with and just to live with in general.
Of course, but let me do some housekeeping first. As always, you can catch a brand new episode of the Movie Podcast every single Monday, and watch out throughout the week for our review episodes on all the latest movies and series. Make sure to follow us at the Movie Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Letterboxd. And don't forget, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, 5 stars. We're looking for 200 of them. We're so close. And if you want to write into our show, that email is hello@TheMoviePodcast.ca. We also have a Discord that, sometimes gets a little hot. Like, and when I say hot, I mean, we have some discussions in there. So why not go ahead and join that and discuss with us as well?
I like that idea. It's a good idea.
Daniel.
Hello there.
We dropped something today on Instagram. Do you mind telling the world what's going on, or do you still want to tease them a little bit?
Here's the thing. I think if you're following us on Instagram, if you're listening to this episode on the day we're dropping it, which is the day after the Oscars, March 28th, you may have seen us post something. If you listen to our show day one, hour one, whenever it drops, you're a real one. You're a real one for us. But tomorrow on the March 29th, we'll be officially unveiling the official merchandise of the Movie Podcast. So look forward to that. We've been waiting to release merch for such a long time, and we are so excited that we're finally doing it. Make sure you're following us, like Shay said, across all of our socials, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Letterboxd. You'll be able to see what the shirts look like. You'll be able to see what they look like on us. We've been kind of rocking them in private for the last couple of weeks, and we've been just so in love with how they turned out. And
we're testing them, right?
We're testing them. We wanted to make sure they were perfect before we ship them out to you guys. So make sure you are following us on Instagram, like I said, so you could see the official unveiling of those. They look great. They feel great. And we're so excited to be able to offer them to you. That scared the hell out of me. Sorry, Siri started talking to me, and it sounded like it came from behind me.
Why is she talking to you right now? She wants to...
I don't know. I literally turned like it was Will Smith entering my room. I'm like, what did I say? I'm so sorry. Yeah. But no, it was been a long time coming for us, and we're so excited that we're finally going to be able to offer you shirts. And just know, like, when you purchase a shirt, you are supporting our show, and you get a cool shirt out of it. So you get a shirt, and you get to support the Movie Podcast, and help us fund what we do here, and keep the lights on, keep the mics on, and make even more great shows for you. So make sure you do that. Also this week, there's lots to look forward to, because we'll have our episode of Moon Knight talking about spoiler free. The first 4 episodes of the show will be dropping on the 29th as well. You'll also be able to hear our review of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Look forward to that. So there's lots to look forward to on the Movie Podcast feed, and April is only going to get more busy. So make sure you're following us across all of our socials channels. You don't want to miss what we got going on, because there's a lot of great stuff happening.
That's true. You know what? I want to just just go back a little bit. And the only reason why I want to go back a little bit is I realized I didn't say hello to Anthony properly, and I didn't let the world know how Anthony's doing. And I don't think Anthony even knew because he checked out. I could tell.
I'm pretty like
Anthony.
I just thought, this is Shay and he's hosting and this is his show. So he's going to decide to skip on me and that's okay.
I decided to host today like the Oscars and make it a complete mess. So that's kind of the vibe that I was going for. But Anthony, sorry. How are you?
Being a two-time Oscar winning champ out of the group, it's been good. Like I won it last year and I won it this year.
Did you win last year?
I did win last year, back-to-back championships. I have 2 Oscar rings on my fingers. It's good to be in this glorious time as an Oscar voting champion. That's all I can say.
True.
And I hope one day you guys are there with me. But now being back-to-back, there's you have to beat the best at this
There's
point.
only so many Oscars left.
It's true.
I'm the Brady of this group right now.
And it's funny though, because, in years past, we were like, oh, if you choose Best Picture, you'll get 2 points on that award, which would have put Anthony and I tied and technically would have made Shay win.
I've never heard of this rule. This is
we'll leave it as, so Anthony got 13 correct out of the 23. Shay got 12 and I got 11. So we were all pretty close, which is nice.
Yeah,
but yes, all credit where credit is due. Anthony did win.
Celebrate
it was
the champion. That's all I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. Celebrate me.
I'm saying celebrate the champion. That's it. You're 100% right. 100% right.
That's true. So I guess we're not doing our traditional show today in the sense of we don't have a lot of news to cover. We have.
we got a lot of Oscar news to cover.
We have just the Oscars to cover, and I think we're gonna get into that for sure. But let's quickly just talk about some of the trailers that we got. So I'll start off with our trailers.
I wanted to give it a bit.
Might have been our worst one.
It was, this is what happens when we go remote for the trailers.
This is also what happens when we do an episode about the Oscars. We try to match their energy.
Yeah, Anthony 100% forgot that he was next in that theme song.
There's no list. There's no number of who's 1, 2, and 3.
It always goes.
Yes, there is.
These rules that you guys are making do not.
It's been like this since 2019, though.
Since we started this podcast, that you actually started with us.
Dude, I don't remember anything. Like, I don't even remember last night, okay?
Dude, Anthony, so inside baseball here, Anthony was supposed to take a picture of him wearing his movie podcast shirt,
right?
So we could have all of our pictures lined up for tomorrow. And then Andy left the shirts here last night.
That bastard.
I went
literally at my front door.
I went upstairs, grabbed the shirts, and then I had eggs in my hand, I had cookies, I had popcorn, I had my bag, and I thought I had the shirts. And I left them at the front door. And when I this morning, when I was looking to take this picture, I couldn't find the shirts. I'm like, Daniel, where's the shirts? Where are the shirts? He's like, they're at the front door. I'm like, damn, Will Smith hit so hard it even hit me. Like I was, dude, that hit just kind of put me in a different mindset. Like
we were in a different, the universe went on a different tilt last night. Also, just full disclosure as well, I have a relative that has chickens and gives me eggs. That's why Anthony was not just taking eggs from my house. I just want to be clear.
I've always seen Anthony walking out of a house with eggs in his hand. I'm like, what are you doing with that?
You just taking eggs out of my fridge? What are you doing, man?
Weird choice, but let's jump into some of these trailers right now. So we have a trailer for The Offer, which is the making of The Godfather for Paramount Plus. We have a trailer for Men. It's a new A24 film. Where the Crawdads Sing, the Batman deleted scene that kind of came out from Warner Brothers and Matt Reeves. We also have a trailer for Only Murders in the Building Season 2, more of an announcement trailer than anything else. Killing It, Roar, A Very British Scandal, and Silverton. So I think the thing that we want to talk about here the most is the Batman deleted scene.
100%. The Batman deleted scene literally came and we heard the tease that, you know, again, full spoilers from this point forward of the Batman. We see the Joker in a prison cell played by Barry Keoghan. He's next door to the Riddler, and he's like, you know, riddle me this. You know, the less of them you have, the more one is worth. And it's like, a friend. And then they start cackling together, right? It's like when like Shane and I are like together. That's like Shane and I in a jail cell and Anthony's Batman. You know, Anthony put us there.
Yeah.
But we were just like, oh, like, shoot, the Joker's here. And then Matt Reeves teased that he had another scene with the Joker that was removed from the film. So this scene comes out, and it's basically, you see that the Joker and Batman obviously have history. You know, Batman enters the prison cell, and Joker's like, oh, it's almost our anniversary, and the 1 year anniversary is paper, because Batman gives him a file full of papers on the profiles of the Riddler, right? And it's so cool that we get to see Batman was just trying to get inside the head of who the Riddler is, and instead of the Joker psychoanalyzing Riddler, Joker starts psychoanalyzing Batman, and it's just such a cool transition of power in that scene, because the Joker kind of turns it into like are you scared that he's right and you agree with what he's doing? And like, it was such a cool dynamic, and it's the perfect thing that the Joker would do to Batman, that why they are rivals, and they swore, and you know, he is his villain for life. You know, they're destined to do this for life, because that getting into Batman's psyche, only the Joker could do that. And he turned something where Batman was just trying to find information into something that I think actually scared Batman, which was so cool. And the way the scene was shot, incredible. And obviously, shout out to friend of the show, Mike Marino, who did the makeup and the prosthetic design work for Barry Keoghan's Joker. Looks terrifying.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right.
I love that scene. That I know, and it makes sense not to put it in the movie. I think it was, you know, I understand why Matt decided not to put it into the film. I think it would have broke away a lot. Like, it would have changed the pacing of this whole story that he had going. But the idea that Batman, deep down inside, is terrified that he's not sure if the Riddler is wrong in what he's doing is actually even more terrifying to the idea of, like, maybe, you know, Batman or Bruce doesn't know where the line is drawn yet. He's only been 2 years playing this character, or playing the vengeance of his city. So where does it lie? Where is that line? Where is that line that he crosses ends? So I really liked his speech, like his story of how he was psychoanalyzing the Batman more than I trying to get information on what a serial killer thinks.
Right, but Anthony, what was your take on the fact that when people started noticing that the Joker took the paper clips from the little file?
You know, this Batman, he needs to be a better detective, because he's literally giving these people ways of getting out of jail. But he should have noticed that. Keys. He's not that detective yet.
Right. Yeah, it was a great scene. I think what it, again, you're right. It needed to be deleted because it didn't bring anything new to the formula. It didn't change how the story was going to be going, and it was a little bit more of a redundant information that we've already gotten. So, love how it looked. I'm glad that it was a deleted scene, because it was one of the best deleted scenes you've ever gotten from a movie ever. And I think
because it was so cleaned up too, right?
So cleaned up, and it was an impactful deleted scene. It was like, wow, this is actually really fucking cool. So I'm glad we got it. But yes, it did not need to be in the film, so it makes total sense why it was removed. But no, I really dug it, and I think I'm excited to see what Barry Keoghan brings to the character. Again, it's so hard to judge him based off a 5-minute clip that's also shrouded in mystery. So for people who are already saying like, nah, he'll never be as good as X or Y, just give him some time. Let everyone just kind of make that judgment when the time comes.
What did you guys think of his appearance? Like, when you see his face and the smile and the hair, yes, it looks like Joker, but it looks different. You know,
right?
Joker doesn't have full head of hair. He has like patches of hair. His face looks
I'm just curious because, like, obviously, first of all, I'm wondering, does this scene still kind of take place within the continuity of the movie? I would love an answer for that, because obviously Batman and the Joker have history already in this world, which is great. So did Batman do that to him, or did he actually fall into like a vat of acid, or like, I don't know how they're doing this, or if they're bringing some type of like medical condition to the Joker as well too, because he looks very beat up.
I thought Matt Reeves said that he had a medical condition where he was he was always smiling, and that he couldn't
and laughing, right?
Yeah, he couldn't.
But what happened to all his burns and his hair and stuff? That's where I'm more like, where's that come
from? Will Smith.
Oh no!
Damn.
No. Damn.
Well, I mean, there's that. Cool. In terms of trailers, anything else you guys want to talk about?
I think The Offer, was the other trailer this week that really stood out. This is either going to be really good, or it's going to feel like a made-for-TV, special. Like we love The Godfather celebrating 50 years. They're really selling this as like, this is the biggest movie that was almost never made.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. It has a very interesting cast. I think Miles Teller is an interesting choice to be in this. Giovanni Ribisi playing like a mob boss type character. He doesn't really feel intimidating. I think he's playing.
I think he's playing an Italian American who is not happy with the portrayal of Italian Americans in film.
But yeah, so I mean, I'm hoping it's good, because I'm a sucker for movies and shows about movies and shows. So we'll see. We won't have to wait too long for this one though, which is great.
Yeah, I'm curious how it's going to go. It looks kind of everywhere. I really hope it is good, but it has the potential, like you said, Daniel, to just be a complete dud. But we're going to go in open-minded, and hopefully we'll get a review out for that as well.
I also like Men, directed by Alex.
Oh, the trailer, right? Okay.
Yes, I thought it was an interesting trailer. Rory Kinnear.
Rory Kinnear, yeah.
Yeah, he plays multiple different versions of people or men that Jessie Buckley's character is interacting with after, I guess, losing her husband, and it was super, super creepy. Like A24 this year has already had its horror film. It has a couple of more horror films coming out. I don't know if this is considered horror or just psychological horror, but I enjoyed the trailer.
Alex Garland has a very distinct style to his films. You look at Ex Machina, you look at Annihilation. Annihilation is also one of those movies that I wasn't too big on, but I'm curious what Men will bring. Let's talk about what we're watching. Anthony, what about yourself?
This week, I put on quite a bit of movies. I started off the week with Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3. I haven't watched it in a really long time, and I thought, you know what? I have it in 4K. Let me put it on. Let me enjoy it. And man, I forget how well done Back to the Future 1 is. I think that's probably my favorite of the 3. Mm-hmm. And watching 2, because 2 is not a movie I've gone back to quite a bit. Like I think I've seen it once or twice, and this would probably be the third time. I enjoyed it, but I don't think it's as good as 1. I think 1 from start to finish is a great story. It's just Marty McFly at his best. The whole premise of going back in time and meeting his mom and dad, and his mom falling in love with him, is just some weird stuff that happens, but it was okay, and it just made sense. And I think the charisma of Michael J. Fox set the whole precedent of that series, and it's the only series that really hasn't been rebranded or brought back. It's still in its capsule of sorts, and I hope it stays that way in the future, and they don't remake it. I watched Lost City. I watched Moon Knight. I watched The Batman again. I had a chance. I brought my dog to the groomers, and usually
I thought you say you brought your dog to the Batman.
Yeah. Imagine. She'd probably watch it.
Oh yeah.
My dog, when you bring your dog to a groomer's, and where I had to bring my dog, it takes like an hour or two, and I'm like, man, I don't have anything to do. Let me go watch The Batman. So I jumped into a theater, watched The Batman, watched right to the point where Falcone is taken care of. But man, it's such a great movie. Whatever time I get with The Batman, I enjoy and I cherish.
You hanging out with them?
Yeah, pretty much. That's how I like. Anytime I get a minute with the Batman, it's
Whenever he returns my
my
calls.
favorite time.
Listen, I know exactly what you're saying, man. Like, this is what, your fourth time watching it, right?
Yes,
You
I
know,
don't watch movies.
No,
many
and that's what's so special. Like, we saw this movie, I think exactly a month ago, did we not?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly a month ago of this recording, we watched The Batman, and I've thought about it every single day since. You know, it's one of those movies that is so special. During the Oscars last night, it's all I could think about. I was just like, man, like, I wish I was watching The Batman instead.
We kind of watched a little bit of the Batman at last night's Oscars.
We did watch a little bit of Vengeance on stage.
We saw some deleted scenes.
What else have I watched? Killing Eve, enjoying season 4. I guess it's season 4 right now. Bad Vegan, I started and ended it. Interesting story on Netflix. I think Daniel mentioned it last week or a week ago. Interesting. There's some interesting people in this world, man. There's some interesting people living in this world. That's all I can say. But I recommend watching Bad Vegan and learning about this vegan chef who goes on this journey with this other man who might keep her dog resurrected for the rest of her life or not, and just the wild shenanigans that kind of come from that. I watched You Won't Be Alone, which I think we'll be doing a review for shortly, and the 94th Academy Awards, or what I like to say, the slap that end all slaps.
Yeah, which we'll get to very, very soon.
We'll be getting to that soon. Daniel, what about yourself?
Yeah, like Anthony, watched The Lost City, which you could check out a review for right now. I watched The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2 Mario Puzo's The Godfather Coda, The Death of Michael Corleone, because we needed a really long name for that movie instead of just calling it The Godfather Part 3. So the films got re-released this week in 4K. They look absolutely incredible. I know, Shay, you were checking them out as well, too. Really blown away by the work that Mario Puzo and the restoration team put into these films, because they are not just like when the Blu-rays came over, the Blu-rays looked fine, but they still had a lot of grain. They still had a lot of discoloration in some scenes. Some scenes are too dark. Some scenes look washed out. This looks phenomenal. Like, I was really blown away of just the quality the quality and time put into this restoration for all 3 films. It wasn't just the first movie. They did it all at once, and it looks great. If you're a Godfather fan, you owe it to yourself to check it out, because they really do look phenomenal. What else did I watch this week? Jackass Forever, because we needed something lighthearted, and I was watching it with my dad, who was just mystified watching it. As he raised me, and had to endure me watching Jackass growing up, and it's here we are all these years later, and he's still having to do that. Anthony mentioned You Won't Be Alone, which is a film that is releasing this week. And did you guys want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Are we going to do a review within a review, a review show within the show?
A review show within a review show. Hello and welcome to the movie podcast review of You Won't Be Alone. Shay's hosting this episode, but I will say that this film is directed by Goran Stolevski, and this film is going to be releasing on April 1st as well. So if you have a choice between watching this or Morbius this week, so the choice is yours. But definitely, let's talk about it. This film also opened up at Sundance this year. Anthony, I'll get you to start us off for this one.
Yeah, this is the story about a Macedonian witch during the 19th century who, I guess, takes a little girl under her wing and makes her a witch. And this little girl goes on this journey of transforming into other people in town and animals and characters and she kind of relives her life through these people. So, watching the trailer for the first time, I thought this was going to be more of a horror film than it was a dramatic film. And I think that's the opposite. I think this movie is more drama than horror. There are horror elements to it because there are witches and, people who are badly burned, and a lot of diving into chest cavities to transform that person into another person. Big claws, things like that. But overall, it's it felt like if Terrence Malick could direct a horror film, this is what it would look like. That's like the best explanation I could give for it. It had beautiful moments to it, but I think the story for me was not meant for me. Like it wasn't, the movie wasn't something that I would watch again, or I can't even say recommend. It's not a bad film, but it just wasn't meant for me, or wasn't made for me. It's very artsy. It's very European. It has beautiful undertones to it, but I think the story was very slow paced, and that's where it kind of got me. And I really couldn't get invested into the character. There are some beautiful cinematography shown in here, and I enjoyed that part, but the overall length and pacing of this movie just really brought it down.
Yeah, I think, Anthony, you bring up some good points. Like there's this beautiful art to the film, and the whole time I was watching it, I just kept thinking, are they trying to humanize the witch in a certain point? Like it felt like they kept trying to say like, yeah, she's bad, or the witch is bad, but like they're people too. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. They're she, like, for example, when I don't know if there's really spoilers, but when she saves the kid, for example, just moments like that where I'm like, okay, the kid died. She saved him by turning into a witch again, but like, it's still a witch. Like there's still like she's still clawing into them, and the body horror was there. But overall, this film just was at a snail's pace. It was just so slow, so artsy that I was like, you know what? I get it. I get there's an audience for this movie, but if I'm looking for like a horror movie that combines art, I'll probably go to something that's a bit more in the line of Ari Aster, where there's, Hereditary and Midsummer, where those are movies that are very fucked up as well, but they can still, I think, entertain me on different levels. Whereas this movie just kind of felt like it kept redoing the same part. Like they'd have sex, they'd get clawed, they'd turn, and then move on. Like that just felt like the cycle that kept repeating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel the same with you guys. I think this movie visually is beautiful. It felt like I felt like I was watching it almost like in a trance, because it just felt like just so kind of just you were lost within what was kind of going on, and it was so fucked up, but it was also so dark and weirdly like beautiful visuals at the same time. Like what you said, Anthony, for myself, this isn't a film. I see the merit in this film. I think I think if you are a fan of this type of movie, you're going to go into it and you're going to love it. But for me, I'm not too big of a fan of these types of films, so I don't really have a lot to say about it. And that's why I can't really say anything too negative about it, just because I like with you guys, this isn't a film that that's in our kind of, I guess, wheelhouse of movies that we look for, right? Mm-hmm. So we don't really think of it, or you can't really judge it as you would something that you would consume normally. So I think there's an audience for this film, and definitely if you're into these kind of weird horror body gore type of films, that you might get something from this. But if you're not, then maybe it's not for you.
Yeah, very slow paced drama, supernatural kind of movies.
And gross. Like, I mean, there was a lot of scenes where I was like, yeah, this is hard to look at. This is hard to watch.
Yeah. There are points of the story where you feel for the characters, and I actually like the ending. Like, I understand where the director was going with that ending. I'm trying to humanize the witch's decision to kidnap this little girl in the beginning of the film. But it's just the journey to that point was so long that you just wanted the movie to end.
Yeah. And there was a point where I kind of like just checked my watch and I'm like, oh, there's still 40 minutes left. Oh,
yeah.
All right. We're still got a lot to go there. So yeah, for me, I'm going to say skip it. I think, again, there is an audience for this film, but based on what you've heard so far, if this isn't for you, it's not going to be for you then.
I would also say skip it.
Same here.
All right. That's 3 skips to my loo. Let's jump into what I've been watching. And for me, we talked about Lost City. Our review is already out for that. I wanted to go back and revisit Palm Springs just because I I love that movie. I think it was so fun. It came out during the beginning of this pandemic, and I had such a good time with it. Andy Samberg is an absolute riot, and Christina Milioti is so funny as well in the movie, and obviously J.K. Simmons. This is gonna sound mean. I just wish I could buy it off of iTunes because I really want some special features. I want it in 4K HDR. I always neglect the Amazon Prime app just because the UI is so cumbersome to get through. I'd watch it a lot more often than it being on a streaming service. I like having access to it a lot easier. We talked about You Won't Be Alone. I also put on The Godfather. Daniel, you're absolutely right. It looks phenomenal. It looks so good. I've been watching Super Pumped, the story about Uber, and I'm not in love with it yet. I think there's some good in it so far, but I'm not in love with it. So I'll keep kind of powering through. I really want to see what Hank Azaria as Tim Cook is like. I'm really curious how that's going to turn out. But yeah, so far it's okay. And I've been watching The Dropout, which I've been absolutely loving. I think that show is phenomenal.
God, I need to watch it. I need to get into it.
Yes, definitely recommend it. Well, let's talk about the biggest thing that we can right now. The 94th Academy Awards, the Oscars, the Oscar Mayer Wieners. Who wants to just kick off with first initial thoughts on how the show went?
I can start.
Please.
Yeah. I didn't like the show. I can be that honest.
Thank you so much.
My thoughts about the Oscars and the whole award ceremony and just it being a clout thing and not really being.
It's sports for art, which is dumb.
It's not the celebration of film, and you can really see it in last night's episode. Like there was no celebration of movies anywhere, and it was just a hot mess, as a lot of people might say on the internet. You'll use that hot mess take on it, but yeah, it was pretty much a clusterfuck. I would say that's my message to the Oscars. You need to figure out what this award ceremony is, and you need to figure out how you can connect with people, because what we watched last night was awful, and not including the slap, but everything. The two best parts of last night's episode was Beyonce's opening ceremony and the best supporting actor going to Troy. But other than that, everything was just garbage. Garbage.
I'm blown away that the Academy is looked at as the pinnacle of what movie making should be. And we had a show that did not celebrate movies. Like you said, Anthony, where were the montages? Where was just talking about movies that made us? We had a moment with Kevin Costner coming on stage talking about watching a movie. It started like he was talking about was he watching an adult film, like a porno? And then we're like, oh no, he was just talking about watching this a grown up movie. And he was talking about the love of movies. There was such a lack of just love for the arts at this award show. And it bummed me out. Growing up, we would watch the Oscars or any award show and look at the montages, look at the openings, look at the stage design, things that made the movie special. It felt like that. Now we're getting things where it's we're getting just first of all, we're going to talk about the Will Smith stuff soon, but I don't think award shows are the places, or especially the Oscars, to roast people and stuff like that. You can get little jabs in here and there, but it's also just it's just for what? You know what I mean? Let's celebrate the movies that are here tonight. And the way the Oscars wanted to celebrate, let's have Oscar fan cheer moments, and it's here's scenes from The Avengers and Army of the Dead and Dreamgirls, and The Matrix. What is this? What are these moments? This is ridiculous. And then you have people having reunions on stage, which is amazing to see, but they're so short and they're so awkward that there's never given something that really makes you feel like this was special. This was the reunion of the Pulp Fiction reunion or the Godfather reunion, because it was like you would have a moment like that and then you would have 6 other moments that are dumb. And then on a technical level, I get technical issues happen, but the audio was all over the place all night. We'd had issues with like the cameras cutting to random things at random times and cutting the feed. And it just blows me away that it's such an easy layup. The easiest thing, the cheapest thing, literally the cheapest thing you could do as an award show is cut together a goddamn sizzle reel of the movies that came out that year. That's that's like the bottom of the bar thing you could do, and we didn't even get that. It's just mind blowing to me. But I will say, we kind of went in saying, what a random choice for hosts. Amy Schumer, which not a fan of, Wanda Sykes and Regina Hall, they were weirdly the better parts of the night, because their skits, as random as some of them were actually moments of, oh, this feels like kind of more traditional award show playfulness. But everything else in between, man, just felt like such a mess. There was no love there, and it just sucks that you are literally the Academy Awards. You have access to the world's biggest stars to do whatever you want, and you do nothing.
It's crazy to me because, to be honest with you, the whole show feels like it came together in a week. It had the merits of just being such
thrown together.
Such a thrown together. I finished my homework last night kind of a routine. You're right in the sense that Amy Schumer, Regina Hall, and Wanda Sykes were, and I use it lightly, highlights, in the sense that I thought it could get really bad with Amy Schumer, and there were moments where it wasn't great, but there were moments where I'm like, okay, she's doing okay right now. She's just scraping by, and none of the jokes are really landing throughout the whole night. And again, we will get to the Chris Rock joke.
Something did land though last night.
Yeah, definitely some hits landed, but it was just such awkward moments. The whole thing was just so bizarre. It felt cheap. It didn't feel good. Nothing about the show last night gave me the prestigious reminder of the Oscars. And I don't get it. I don't know who runs the Oscars anymore, in the sense of like, as in who decides these things, because my God, why would you have TikTok stars there? There was the whole red carpet thing where they're like, I want you to reenact this scene. What the fuck was that? That was so pathetic. It was so lame. It literally was cringy. And then the people that they had kind of hosting, it just felt so all over the place. The set design was not memorable at all. Can you guys even tell me what it was? Was it the letter A in the background or a triangle?
I don't know.
No idea. They didn't care. And you're right. You can just put a fucking sizzle reel together. It's not hard. Even the In Memoriam, I get it. They wanted to celebrate life. It just felt jarring at certain points because who were they showing sometimes? They probably missed some names. They probably had people that were still alive in there, for all I know. I haven't done a thorough check of the In Memoriam. I think Bob Saget was missing from it too, from what I heard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it was just a mess. They clearly, I don't know. It felt like, and I hate saying this, it felt like such a boomer moment, in the sense that they had just people that tried to be cool, that tried to get it, but they misfired on all fronts. And it might have been the most boring Oscars I'd ever seen until that moment. And when that moment happened, it became interesting, but for the wrong reasons.
Before we get into the wrong reasons, I just want to say this is probably the first Oscar where I saw a lot of diversity. That was a good thing, but the overall, like, the whole Oscar thing just couldn't capture that diversity and present it in such a beautiful way that it should have been.
Also, you guys cut 8 awards to save time, and you still go 20 minutes over.
But then you still show the awards being edited into the show. Like, if you wanted to commit to not showing those awards, I still hate that decision, but sure, for the sake of time, I get it. Cut out 8 awards and move on. But then when you still show them, it's kind of like
they're cutting.
Awkward.
They're literally cutting out the travel time for those people to get to the stage. So they thought that cutting out, I guess, because they probably put them all the way in the back, and the way the stage was designed, because it seemed like they were all sitting in these cubicles, right, like these little booths, and they were pretty much the celebrities, and behind them were rows and rows of people. just scattered around.
But this is the thing though. They presented those during the pre-show, so not everybody was in their seats. So the audience's reactions weren't like when you see like stars looking at like we don't know if those are genuine reactions or not.
No.
They were watching a replay of it during the telecast, or they were just using footage from different scenes of the Oscars.
Yeah.
Like it was
made
so
no sense.
disingenuous. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Okay, we can get into it.
Okay, well, so let's talk about what happened. So we had Chris Rock to come out to present. Was it Best Documentary Feature?
Best documentary feature film.
Right. We're excited. We're like, okay, let's see what happens. Who's gonna win? Chris Rock comes out, makes a joke about G.I. Jane, a film directed by Ridley Scott from 1999 or 8.
Around that time,
in the 90s, late 90s,
maybe even earlier. Yeah, starring Demi Moore because she had a shaved head. He makes a joke at Jada, who's sitting in the front row area with Will, and says, "Oh, Jada, like, are they filming G.I. Jane 2 or just something along those lines?"
It says something like, "Oh, I'm looking forward to G.I. Jane 2."
Yeah. And you see Jada kind of just like, ugh, okay, whatever, but like rolls her eyes, and you see Will laughing. And then all of a sudden, Will walks up on stage and smacks Chris Rock, like right across the face, sits back down. Here's when the audio cuts out for our North American feed. So we're just kind of like, whoa, what's going on here? And you cut back over to Will, but you can clearly mouth out what he's saying. He's like,
he's seeing red at this point. Yeah.
Name at your fucking mouth. He's just saying that over and over again. And then it just goes quiet. And then it cuts back to Chris Rock. Chris Rock's like, yeah, I think that's like one of the greatest moments of television history right there. Let's kind of go deeper into that. So
let's unpack it. Let's unpack it all.
I'm all here, and here's the thing. This is such a divisive subject. I'm all here for defending your wife's honor, but when you're a celebrity, when you have people that look up to you, especially children, and the thing that they see is you beating somebody else for a comment, it sends the wrong messages. That's not the kind of message you want to send. That the first response should be violence.
I think, this is the thing. I don't want to overshadow it too, because like he was overshadowed last night. Questlove wins for Summer of Soul, which is a beautiful documentary. You can watch it on Disney Plus now. Gives a beautiful speech. His mom's crying throughout his acceptance speech. It was such a beautiful moment for it to be overshadowed, like the rest of the award show was by this moment. And like you said, Shay, I'm 100% in the camp. You defend your loved ones always, 100%. But when you're at an award show, when you're at the Oscars, when you're Will Smith, there's other ways that you can defend the honor. And I think it was so disrespectful. Obviously, here's the thing. The joke was dumb. The joke was stupid. We know that from what Jada has said and from the reports that come out that she does suffer from alopecia. And at 100%, there's no need to be commenting on anyone's physical appearance ever. That's no need for that. Mm-hmm. But when you go up on stage and you slap and assault a man like that, and then you start screaming back like during a live conference where you pretty much are the favorite to win Best Actor, it's just like, what are you doing, man? Will Smith is there's never been an actor like Will Smith who has transcended generations of love for so many people, right? Will Smith is as an actor who is just beloved across everyone. He is the most successful actor of all time. And he finally got his due. And we've been wanting Will Smith to win an Oscar for so long. And it sucks that it's forever tainted and associated with this event. Like I was saying, like Will Smith's speech was probably going to be that speech that people would always look to and play and like get hyped over. And it sucks that when he finally did give his speech for Best Actor last night, he was just kind of a crumbling mess because he obviously was so overwhelmed. You saw that guilt in him as well too, and he apologized to the Academy. He didn't apologize to Chris Rock, but it was messy, man. And it was just it broke my heart for everyone else who was at the show last night. My heart broke for Will Smith, obviously, because I wanted him to win. He was my favorite to win. I wanted him to finally get his due. But I was just like, man, like this isn't the way, man. Like this isn't the way you show people. This isn't the way you defend your family. like wait for a commercial break, talk to him afterwards. But like, man, to go on stage and do that, because him going on stage, it looked comical because Will Smith kind of went up there. The smack looked like it was fake because of the angle, and then he kind of walked away like tough guy, right?
He walked away like it was like the Wild Wild West, and
you don't expect that from Will Smith to act with aggression like that. So like, oh, we thought it was fake, and then the audio cuts out, and we're like, oh, wait a second, this is real, this is happening. And I'm just surprised Chris Rock went on, had his composure. He didn't go back with a comment because Chris Rock, being a comedian, could have just ended them right there.
Just decimated right there, yeah.
You know, because obviously the Smith family is a very easy target, especially in the last couple of years. He didn't. He kept his composure and kind of just went on with the show, which is so weird and crazy to me that this is like I was tweeting earlier today, you know, like messing up the Best Picture winner, that's a low moment for the Oscars. And I meant it as like something within the show's like control, but this is a low moment for very many other reasons.
I'm super shocked to see what I saw last night. I think, you know, I envision Will Smith in a certain way, and seeing him in this way, like it was just out of character. And I never in my wildest dreams would have thought that this man would get out of his seat and slap another man on stage for the comment. And I totally, like, I think at that time when it happened, I understood Will Smith's decision, but looking and reflecting after, I don't think it was the right thing to do. Like, it definitely was not the right thing to do. I think if you were going to slap the guy, I would have slapped him behind the stage and not ruin the moment that he was going to have. I don't know if it was something to do with the disrespect he feels that he received from Chris Rock on the night he knew he was going to win Best Actor, put him in a different mindset. And that's why he did it. He was talking about, he did his whole speech about being a vessel of love and all that, but you just went and slapped a man on stage for a joke that's...
You were laughing at.
And then I think your wife told you that's not funny. And you had to kind of man up and, I guess, slap this dude.
Save face there, yeah.
And for the Black community, I don't think this was showcasing what they represent either. Like, it just felt disconnected. It's just like, again, we're diving into diversity, and we're allowing celebrations like this, and you're presenting yourself by slapping a man who's also Black on stage. It just didn't feel right. It didn't feel like
millions.
Yeah, and it was just slapping someone is such a disrespectful. Like, it's worse than punching them, right? Like, you slap someone.
Oh yeah,
such a you're making sure that you're sending the message that you mean nothing, and that's what a lot of Black people watch. That they felt that. It's like, why would you resort to such a barbaric thing to do? You know. It was a tough night. It's so weird because then he goes and he wins the Best Actor award, and he does his speech, and you can clearly see the shame on his face. There's a lot of shame on his face. I think he knew what he did was wrong, and he was ashamed at what he did. And he said in his speech, the devil comes at the highest, and it will tear you down. And I think the devil was himself in that scenario. I think he was referring to himself. I think there was a lot of emotion, and there's a huge divide between people saying he was right and people saying he was wrong. And this is surprising because, you know, I don't want people to go and slap people on stage and think that's the right thing to do. That's the right decision to do. Especially because Jada and Will have this weird relationship, and it's, you know, her entanglements with other men or another man that she mentioned on her show, and it felt like it all steamed up and it like came out last night. I'm going to take it out on Chris Rock because he said this alopecia thing, and I understand how it's sensitive, but, you know, I would have preferred him slapping him off stage behind the scenes, or just saying, keep my wife out of your mouth, basically yelling that to him, and just I think that would have been a little bit more better than the whole get up, let me slap him, pull up his pants kind of thing. Like he took care of business and then going and back and sitting down and yelling. But yeah, that is a mark on his career that I don't wish to have had. Wish for him to have had, especially on the night he wins. It's such a crazy night. It was such a crazy night because he wins at the end. He won this, and he's like at the end, he's Vanity Fair, he's dancing, he's having fun, he's like taking pictures with everyone, and people were giving him a rising ovation and then clapping, and everyone stood, and it's just like, this guy just went up and slapped a man on stage. Like it was like a show, like a movie. It was like just something so surreal. You never would have
shocking
guessed. Like you never would have pictured it.
It's shocking. And again, like Chris Rock, like it's so bizarre, man. Like I'm still like we're talking about this. I'm shook that it happened and it was Will Smith of all people. And again, not to, like I truly believe, like, don't make fun of people's appearances at all. But it was such a joke that I don't think anybody thought anything would come of it, because not that it was an innocent joke, but it was such like a dumb throwaway jab at somebody that you're just like, oh, okay. And then Will Smith looked like he was doing like a skit on stage, and then it wasn't until he started yelling afterwards that we're like, oh shit, this is real. And then we started getting the Australian feed, then we started getting the Japanese feed of it, and then we've been starting to hear all the stories from like the aftermath of all of that. But it's just an absolutely just crazy night that like I don't think we would have ever anticipated happening at the Oscars, and of all people, it coming from Will Smith, right?
At the end of the day, like, and again, I think this is where I might get some hate. Chris Rock's a comedian. Like, we know that their bread and butter is usually crowd work, and especially in a place where you're the richest people in the world, where literally nothing can harm you or affect you. I get it. A joke about appearance is never good, but it's still, at the end of the day, that's just comedy. That is kind of what they do. He didn't go too deep, and I think, again, it was a bad joke in the sense that it wasn't funny, but I got it. I got the reference. It was so low hanging, but it didn't need what happened after to happen. And I think that's the part where, like, you've had people like Ricky Gervais who've been hosts for so many different things, and they've absolutely decimated the audience. They've called out people for things that are absolutely much worse. There are people there right now. Harvey Weinstein is sitting with like 80 Oscars inside of his house right now, or not really, he's in jail, but like, you have all those other things, but then you have this moment happen, and it's kind of like, it didn't need to. Like there are much worse things that have happened at the Oscars. Will Smith shouldn't have done that. He just should have just sat in his chair and had a conversation with Chris Rock right after.
Yeah. The world, when they saw it, everyone has an opinion, and I think, everyone's opinion is pretty much useless after the fact that it happens. Judd Apatow saying he could have killed the guy with a slap. Judd, come on.
That's kind of relax.
There's
relax.
I saw a take today too saying, what if it was Betty White on stage? I'm like, you really think Will Smith was going to go up there and slap Betty White? Like, are you fucking stupid? There's been a lot of there's been awful takes on both ends. At the end of the day, don't make fun of people's appearances, and maybe don't slap people either, because it's just ridiculous. It's crazy that this is where we are right now, and we're talking about this. We're not celebrating the movies. We're not. Like,
this Oscars also had a higher viewership. It had about 15.3 million people compared to last year, which was 10.3. I'm only going to assume that next year's now might be more, if not the same, because people love the drama.
Well, they love the drama. Same way the Oscar ratings, I think, went up after the Moonlight stuff, because people tuned in. What's going to go wrong this year? And then now every single and this is the thing now. Every single comedian's going to make a Will Smith joke. Every single award show, there's going to be a Will Smith joke. Like, it's always going to be tainted to that. And then look at Chris Rock. Like, Chris Rock's career is going to be doing better now, because we just saw, like, Variety reported that his ticket sales for his tour have skyrocketed. Right. So it's like, even at the end of the day, the viewers are kind of the ones left in this kind of weird limbo that we're in of like, what did we just watch? But the people who were involved in it. Will Smith won his Oscar, and Chris Rock's having a very successful tour now. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter in the sense of, for them, it doesn't matter. They could do whatever they want because they're millionaires anyway.
Yeah.
Whatever they do, there's no repercussions for it because it doesn't matter to them. They could do what they want. They're human. They could react the way they want to. It's us who are left to pick up the pieces of all of it and try and make sense of it.
Yeah. It's toxicity. I'm telling you, it's the toxicity of Hollywood. It's just, that's their world. And I know we watched something last night like, wow, I did not expect it, and that's wrong and all these things, but that's the world they live in, and that's the world, like, they live in a different time and different space. How they deal with their things is different than how we would deal with it. Clearly, Will did not think it through, and I think he's regretting it 100%.
Yeah. We're going to see a lot of we're definitely going to see Will like make a bunch of videos on this probably, and
milk this for a while.
It's going to be everywhere for a really long time.
It's unfortunate. I mean, it put a big stain on his big night, as I'd say.
Yeah,
because I can't remember a single thing from his speech other than "Vessel of Love" and the devil. And I was like, man, just shut up at this point. Like, you just really just ruined it, man. Like, I can't even cheer for you right now.
It was an awkward night, man. It literally, like all of us, like my stomach was hurting last night, man, because I'm like, this is so awkward now. Like, this is so uncomfortable. Like, where we are in this award show, and
we love Will Smith.
Yeah, and Chris Rock. It's just weird.
I'm not a big fan of Chris Rock.
Really?
But I mean, like, Will Smith's on a different level, obviously.
You know, try.
Will Smith. Will Smith.
We hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I'm slapping Anthony on YouTube.
God.
Dude, if we get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, I'll allow you to slap me.
Okay,
God,
perfect.
And this is what's on the line.
And then I'll say, "How can he slap?"
This is what's on the line, guys. So please make sure you're subscribing to the Movie Podcast on YouTube, because you could do that now. youtube.com/TheMoviePodcast. We want to see, is it Anthony slapped Shay or Shay slapped Anthony?
Anthony. Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Once we hit I'm down for that. Me and Shay slapped Daniel.
Yeah, at the same time.
No, we don't slap. We stab Daniel.
Oh. Okay. Sorry, that's 10,000. You could stab me.
Oh, okay. 10,000. Hey guys, remember this episode, okay?
Yeah, 10,000 subscribers. Stab.
We do a 3-way stab, like a Spider-Man meme kind of thing,
Oh no, I don't like that. But yeah, end of the day, guys, it was a pretty crazy show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
we expected a boring Oscars. We got anything but that. But yeah, I'll let you continue, Shay.
I was just saying, let's talk about some of these winners, some of how we did. Obviously, we already talked about how Anthony won this our guessing game of who's going to win at the Oscars.
It's not a guessing game, Shay. It's real.
It's research.
This is a championship that comes out of our group.
You trained for this, huh?
Trained for, that I made these decisions. I get the glory. To me.
Well, let's talk about one of the biggest winners that night was, obviously Coda, but I want to give a huge shout out to Dune, because Dune walked away with a lot of awards as well.
So this is what bothered me.
Not shown on TV.
Exactly. This is what bothered me. In years previous, we were like, oh, look, remember when Mad Max was winning, like they won like 7 or 8 awards? They're like, this is amazing. Didn't feel like that for Dune last night because so many of the awards weren't shown properly. Mm-hmm. It's just so disrespectful, man. But Dune, awesome. I'm going to watch Dune tonight now.
Yeah. Best visual effects for Dune. Best film editing for Dune. Best cinematography for Dune. Best sound. Best production design. Best original score. Gotta give a quick shout out to Hans Zimmer for being in Amsterdam, coming downstairs in his robe, putting a little Oscar inside of his robe. That was really cute. What else did Dune win? And that was it. But that's again a big chunk of the night.
Yeah, I do feel for the filmmakers for Dune. I think being cut out of the Oscars like that and having decisions made to incorporate a music score from a song that was clearly not in the running for an Oscar, like Don't Talk About Bruno, a Buzz Lightyear featurette that we've already saw it. That was a minute and 40
Which came
seconds.
randomly, by the way. That came randomly. Chris Evans appeared after Troy Kutzer won for Best Actor, right? Best Supporting Actor.
Sure, I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, I think it was Best Supporting Actor. Then out of nowhere, Chris Evans showed up. He's like, and now a little preview of Lightyear. It's like, where did that come from?
Why is this here? And then like it's just so strange.
So that was like what 5 minutes, 6 minutes with the song and the Lightyear thing. I'm like, that could have been given to filmmakers who were actually in the building. Come on,
it's dumb decisions,
on,
and then
Disney.
we spend like 5 minutes on this Regina Hall. Oh, let me tongue these guys' throats to check if they have COVID. It's like, this is what you're spending time on, guys.
Very
it's
awkward joke as well.
You know, like this joke,
not a celebration of film.
This sexual joke is what you're spending time on. Okay, cool.
I want to give a bit of a shout out to Matt Rohrback from the Untitled podcast. He tweeted out saying, when the Bruno song was happening, this felt like it was off of a Disney cruise, and I have to wholeheartedly agree with you that it was it just felt so out of place. It felt weird. Song's not even nominated, so why are we presenting it? Like,
because we have to appeal to the TikTok.
So on the Eastern time zone, kids are already asleep. So I guess those West Coast kids are maybe watching it and going like, "Oh, this song doesn't look anything like it does in the movie. These are people." Like, what was it for? It just felt very weird.
It's wild. Like this is the problem with the Oscars. You don't need the young audience. Because the people who are going to watch the Oscars are going to watch the Oscars. Yeah. Stop appealing to try and get a younger demographic. Because unless there is something nominated that they're going to care about, they're going to only watch clips of it. Mm-hmm. No one's watching clips of the Oscars today. They're watching clips of Will Smith slap Chris Rock.
Yeah.
That's all, and the memes that are coming from it. That's all that's going to be looked at today. So all of that money you put into trying to make an award show went out the window when that happened. And like, you had a weak award show in the sense of just the production of it, how it was shown off, and you're left with nothing. It just sucks, man. Like, it really bothers me.
And again, the hosts, I get it. 3 females, that's amazing. There are so many more relevant females they can pick that are doing something in Hollywood today. But
I think too. So like Coda wins best picture, amazing. Cheyenne Hedder wins for best adapted screenplay. Yeah. Sean Hedder wins for best adapted screenplay. Amazing to see. Troy Kutzer wins best supporting. Coda had a great night, and it was awesome to see that. Apple now the first streaming service to get a best picture win. Mm-hmm. So surprising, because Netflix has been trying for like 10 years now. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy that Apple beat them to that punch in such a short time. But Coda is so deserving. I mean, we've been talking about Coda since last January 2021. Yeah. So it's awesome to see that it got its due.
But that's different because last night Apple bought Coda. Coda wasn't it wasn't produced by Apple. Apple didn't say this is original. This is art. They just bought them. So
right, but the same thing though happens with other films though that Netflix buys and Prime Video buys. Right?
But does Netflix buy movies or does it just make movies?
Yes, they do.
They do buy movies.
Sure, because I feel like 100%. They just make their own content now. Like they don't go.
They do both. They do both.
Really? They do both. So Netflix will purchase. No, they do. I'm telling you, they 100% do. They will buy films that are at different film festivals, and then they will buy it to have on their streaming service, right? Which is that's how you do it. But it's crazy that an original streaming service movie that did not get its I guess a traditional rollout, it still was playing in theaters, was the one to win Best Picture.
Do you think Apple will now present that, showcase that award at their Cupertino headquarters? Because I know they do that with their Emmys and stuff like that. Yes. Do you think that's it's so funny? It's like no one wins it. It's like a company that wins it. It's so weird, Well,
it's worse for international feature film where the country wins it.
The country wins it, yeah.
I still think it's crazy the fact that Ryusuke Hamaguchi won for Best International Feature Film for Drive My Car, but the country of Japan is getting that award. And in some ways, I get it, but I don't agree with it at all.
Yeah. I would say
it should have been him. It's his movie. He's from Japan, but that's about it.
I would say give it to both, just like you would give it to multiple producers on a produced movie for Best Picture. Give it to the country and the director.
Sure,
both people win, both country and director.
Couple other awards from the night. We had Best Costume Design, which went to Cruella, which, we were happy to see. Best Makeup and Hairstyling, which we hoped would go to Mike, or, our good friend of the show, Mike Marino. It did go to the team of The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and, they did a great job. So that's always good to see. We also had Best Original Song go to No Time to Die. I must be the only song because it was on everyone's iTunes playlist for the past 3 years. So
yeah, I wish Mitchell's vs. the Machines won Best Animated Film.
I 100% agree with you. I like Encanto, but Mitchell's vs. Machine was not only a phenomenal animated film, but if it got nominated for a screenplay, I would have been there for it too.
I think Encanto won. Encanto's having a moment right now. It's having a huge moment, and during the performance, if we don't talk about Bruno, which again, Encanto got 2 songs performed tonight, or performed at the Oscars. Didn't we have TikTok stars singing it in the background or some shit on the screens? So it's like
some bullshit like that.
You're trying so hard to be cool, guys. You don't need to.
I was gonna say Encanto. I'm in terms of originality in animated films, Encanto is a movie you've seen. It is very similar to a movie you've seen before. It's very similar to Coco and a bunch of other Latino-based animated films. Well, Mitchell's and the Machines was so original, like it was so out there that you've never seen something like this, and to get shut out like that, and it just says a lot about the politics behind the Oscars.
It's just money and marketing.
Not actually
That's
about
it.
the content that you're watching.
No,
it's about
not at all.
Who I can pay to vote for me, because essentially that's it. That's
right.
what it is.
But also,
what
here's the thing, though.
Can I give you to make you vote for me? Because there's no rules against that. No rules.
There's not. But there's also that works on both sides. Because let's not forget, Mitchell's vs. the Machines is a Netflix movie. Even though it was purchased from Sony, they had the whole power of the Netflix marketing team, but all anyone is talking about was Encanto, right? So there's that's just how it goes sometimes. And the Best Animated Feature Film Award the last 10 years, 9 out of 10 times has gone to Disney, right? So it's always Disney playing against itself with another film in there. Spider-Verse won that year, and maybe we'll see Spider-Verse win again next year, but who knows?
I'm going to give a huge shout out to Riz Ahmed for finally coming out, winning an Oscar as well. Huge,
disrespectful, man.
Huge moment for him that not many people got to really see properly, because again, it was shown before the actual award started, and he won for his live action short film, The Long Goodbye. I wish he got his Oscar last year for Best Actor, but hey. Everything happens for a reason. Kenneth Branagh didn't walk away empty-handed. He got Belfast, Best Original Screenplay. Sure. I again haven't seen Belfast. I think that's a great decision as well. There was a lot of contention about who can actually win this. I'm really glad Don't Look Up didn't win. That one would have been such a sour moment if that did happen.
Yeah. I was, I really wanted Licorice Pizza to win original screenplay. I think out of all the screenplays and all the movies we watched, that was the only one that really kept me engaged for that 2.5 hours of amazing film, amazing storytelling. But that, the people talking about how it's the age difference and some bullshit like that. PTA, again, shut out.
Yeah.
Because he put me in a position where I have to fucking yell at people and slap them.
And again, our opinions aren't the be all end all either, which we always say, but it's also just my biggest grievances with the Oscars and the Academy is that they really try so hard to be liked when they don't have to be.
Yeah.
You don't have to try to get people to like you. People are going to watch you because there's movies there and movie stars there.
Yeah.
Celebrate the movies. Celebrate your love of movies. You built a fucking amazing Academy Museum. Go take a tour of your own museum and see why movies are important, and then come back to us next year with a better show.
They did that part, remember, with Wanda Sykes, where she goes through the...
And that was a fun moment.
But it was bad, man.
No, it was a fun moment in the sense of this is oh, look, they're actually showing movies.
Right.
They're actually showing movies that are being celebrated. They don't celebrate movies during the live telecast. It's crazy.
No.
This is a bit of a... what I like about this episode too is that we're a little bit more unhinged on this episode than we typically are in a normal kind of movie podcast episode. But but it's not that. It's just
I'm just kidding, man.
we're just like I think just still shook about just everything that happened yesterday.
Yeah, it was just I want to have a discussion really about it because it was so disappointing, and I guess not like our hopes were super high for this this show, but like, my God, like, how can you shit the bed even further? Couple more awards. I mean, Ariana DeBose for Best Supporting Actress. That was our front runner, and we were so happy to see that. She absolutely deserved it. When we get to Best Actress, Jessica Chastain for Eyes of Tammy Faye. How'd you guys feel about that one? Because I know that we really wanted Kristen Stewart for her performance as Diana, but I think Jessica Chastain did a phenomenal job in the film. I have no doubts about that. But
she did.
Yeah, I think just Kristen Stewart. I was really impressed by her work.
Yeah, I think they both, like, again, they both did an amazing job, and to celebrate one over the other it sucks. Jessica Chastain winning her Academy Award, well deserved. She's something that I think she was looking for a long time in her career. I don't know if Kristen Stewart is. I think Jessica Chastain has consistently been trying to get to that point. I think she looked the most beautiful in that green dress. Like, I think her Vanity Fair dress, she should have went with that dress. I think it would have stood out in terms of like her speech and just her, like, she looked amazing from head to toe. I thought her speech was a little like, I think after that Will Smith thing, any speech that came after was just over my head. Like, it wasn't something I was thinking about. I don't remember what she said.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad that she won it. I think for me, like I said before in the beginning of the show, Troy Kutzer winning for Best Supporting Actor and his speech, and I always love the stories of people who struggle and get to where they are now and achieve something that they never thought. Like, when you see Will Smith, I don't know. Yeah, he has struggles, but he's been Will Smith for a very long time. And the way he presented himself was like, I deserve this. But when you look at Troy and you actually see this guy went through struggles, like he's a hearing impaired deaf actor who had to like achieve a whole bunch of, I guess, like, not make it to be
he's had to overcome a lot of obstacles, right, to get to where he was. Yeah,
not to be seen and to be where he is now. That's something I love. I love those stories. And his speech, and I forgot the woman who won Best.
Yoon Jung.
And she was like this. She looked like this little old grandmother in the corner, like holding his Academy Award, like just like so like caring for him in his speech. It was so beautiful good. Moment. It was so good. Probably my favorite part of this show.
Great moment.
Hands down.
Beyonce.
It was a beautiful moment, like you mentioned, Anthony, because it was a celebration. And I think that's the best part about it. It celebrated his love of film, but also his struggles that he's been through, and that's what we loved hearing about. These performances. His speech was funny as well. It had great moments, and it had moments of levity and brevity at the same time.
The Popeye.
The Popeye, yeah. So, and I love that Yoon Jung signed it to him at first that he won, because like, that's what's beautiful about it. Like,
dude, he looked up and he's like, "What did you say?
What? Like, what was that? Yeah, like, say it again." But it was a great moment.
It was a beautiful moment.
Yeah,
that moment. Questlove speech. There was a lot of beautiful moments of last night, and I'm hoping moving forward, those are the moments that people will really start to appreciate and remember of the night.
Yeah, and then we have Best Director, which Jane Campion, Power of the Dog. Sure,
she got one. Damn it! No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Good for Jane. You got your award, but. Yeah,
I didn't like what she said to Kevin Costner. Where she's
she undercut his beautiful speech, man.
She said that was dramatic. Like, she's the worst when it comes to speeches.
Stop! Like, just don't say anything.
Shut up! Don't share your opinion, because they're always awful.
Yeah,
he even looked at her like.
He did. He literally did like a.
What'd you say?
He did like a what? Because she was like, literally the first thing she said was, "Thanksgiving Day was quite dramatic," and I'm like, "Shut the fuck up!" Like, we didn't want you to win anyways, but whatever. Sure, you won. Like,
sorry. Just joining us on the show now, Taika Waititi is here.
It's me, Jane Campion. I have no idea what the fuck that was, but
my god!
And then, Best Picture. Coda.
Coda.
I was really happy that was the movie that I loved the most. So yeah.
Coda, it was great seeing Coda win. Really happy to see Coda win. We spoke about it, but yeah, loved it. Loved the movie. Happy it got its due last night. Well deserved. And yeah. And here we are. We're going to do it all again next year.
Hopefully a better show. Now, do you guys have any last minute things to talk about this year's Oscars? Daniel, your head is about to fall off with how you're shaking it.
This show, I think we've given enough. I think the amount of talk that we've talked today is enough for this year's Oscars. And, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds for this award anymore.
Yeah.
I'm good. Like, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm going to try and make it a point. You know how Anthony committed at the beginning of this year, I don't want to buy popcorn in a movie theater?
Okay.
You remember that promise?
Yeah.
I think he said it on the show too. That's why I'm bringing it up. I'm going to try and make a promise not to talk about this year's Oscars anymore after this episode. Like, I'm so done with them.
No.
Well, I'm going to, if you guys ask me a question about it, I will answer, but I'm not going to bring it up. I'm making a point right now.
I bet you won't either.
Bring it up. Yeah.
Because there really isn't anything to talk about. Like, I'm done after this. When we hit
even if Will Smith does this whole thing about, like, I'm done. Like, it doesn't matter anymore. It's just like Anthony said, it's toxicity now. It's done. It happens. It's shitty. Everything is shitty. And I don't want to engage with it anymore. I want to go back to celebrating movies on the Movie Podcast. We're the Movie Podcast. We're not the drama podcast. We're not the man's getting hit in the face podcast. Like, it's just, it's craziness. It's craziness that we're talking about this on the Movie Podcast today. I can't believe it.
I know. But fret no further, Daniel, because the end of this episode has come. And to our loyal listeners, thank you for sticking with us through this Oscars episode. Whether you care about the Oscars or not, thank you so much for sticking through it. Daniel, you and I right now are rocking our merch. We're rocking our tees. Anthony, you are stupid and you left your t-shirt behind, and I will slap you for that one day.
You took the eggs instead, man. Leave the egg station.
Dude, I took eggs, I took cookies, popcorn. Like, I had like Daniel's like car keys,
wallet. Yeah, you had everything on you, but not the key, not the t-shirt. But we have some merch dropping, and we can't wait to share more information with you guys about that on our socials. So again, make sure to follow us at The Movie Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Letterboxd, YouTube. We have Moon Knight that is dropping as well, our review for it. Hear our thoughts, hear our divisive thoughts about Moon Knight. And we'll have some more information. We have Morbius coming out this week, so we'll be dropping a review for that as well. Again, you can follow us, like I mentioned, at The Movie Podcast on all those socials. Write into us at hello@TheMoviePodcast.ca. Give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts if you can, and on Spotify as well. And that was This Time with The Movie Podcast.
And we'll see you next.